In this video, we'll look at list, Python list, which are also called in other languages, it's very similar like in Julia, arrays. So in Python, arrays are actually of something else. We'll look at them later on. Right now, we'll look at a list. So my week is a variable, and as you see, I'm creating it with those brackets, square brackets. So square brackets in Python means list, and then I can put whatever I want in my list. So the big difference with tuples and dictionary is that there is an order, and I can change the value inside it after it's been created, right? So it has an element from the tuple, the order, and it's mutable like the dictionary. So here I'm putting all the different days of the week. In English, in strings, I separate them with commas, and then I just look at my variable. So it just created a list. Then I do the same, not with string, but with number. I just add the Fibonacci list of number, and it works. Here I see the Fibonacci list is in my new variable. Now, if I look at the type of my variable Fibonacci, it says list because this is a list. Now, what happens if I want to have a list which is not only number or not only string text? Well, in Python, you just can, and you just write it like that. You separate by commas and you put whatever you want in it, and you can have a list of all that. Now, what happens if I look back at my week and there are 7 values, and I want to look at it by index because there is an order. So I put 7, here won't work, last time I said, because the index in Python start with 0. So there's nothing at the 7th position, and it's what it's telling you. Index out of range, you're asking for an index which is not in my range of index. Because it starts at 0. The first one is Monday, the last one is index 6, and it's Sunday. Now, how can I use those index to actually change things in my list? Well, the only thing I have to do is this: decide which index number I want to change. Here it's 4 for Friday, and instead of Friday I will translate it to French, and I say okay, vendredi. So I just do that, and then I look at my week, and it says Monday here it's vendredi instead of Friday before Saturday. So it worked. I can just pick an index and change the value, so it's super useful. Now, if we go back to Fibonacci, how can I add a number at the end of my list and say, okay, Fibonacci continues and continues. I want one more value, it's 21. So I want to add 21 at the end of my list. The only thing I have to do here, we see it's done, it's to use happen. So you don't need to remember that. The only thing you have to do is put the dot, then tab, and then you got all the different methods which are function of a class of this list. So happen was 1, and that's what I use. And then I put 21 at the end. So how can I remove it? So to remove it, I just need to use pop, nothing else. So it's my list, in this case Fibonacci, dot pop, the parentheses, because it's a function, but I don't need to put anything inside. I don't have to put a key, I don't have to put an index, I just put that, and it kills the one that is at the end. But it also gave me the value that it had. So instead of just deleting it, it's giving me 21, which was the value, and I could put it in a variable like this and then use it. So I killed what I just added. So you can use, the list as a pile of data like this, where you can add things and remove them when you do them. And then if I look back at Fibonacci, well, 1, 2, 3, up to 13, 21 is not there anymore. Now, if I want to add something in my list, and I want to say this, I want to add a 0 at the beginning of the Fibonacci list that I have. So I will do like that, I'll explain it. So we'll see that now there is a 0, but it's 0, 0 with insert, so there is a function insert, 0, 0. So here I explain. Index is the index that you want to insert something in, and value is the value. So if I put 0 and 50, I'm saying add 50 as the index 0, which is the first one of the list, and now I got 50. Then the 0 I added is still there, etc. Now if I want to remove something, because I didn't want to have a 50 here, so I want to kill it, I want to remove it, I just do Fibonacci.remove 50, and I have this 0, I want to remove it too, 0. So now I remove everything I added. The only thing is that with remove, I'm not removing the first one in my list. I'm removing the first one that I find of this value. So basically, if I say remove 8, it will remove 8 here. It will go until it finds an 8 and remove it. If I say remove 1, it will remove only 1. It will not remove everything. And I can show you actually. I'll take back the full Fibonacci so that we have it to recreate it at the end, because we will use it again. And here I can show you, okay, what happened if I remove 8. 8 was removed. As I said, if I remove 1, but only 1 was removed. And the first one, it's always the first one, then it stops. So I create back Fibonacci's. And let's look at more dimensions. So more dimension in that case, I mean a list of lists. So a list of lists, here we see I open the bracket, a square bracket, and then I open them again, because in my list I want to add a list with the 3 way of saying Monday in French, English, and Spanish: Monday, lunes, lundi. Then I got Friday, viernes, vendredi, and I just look at that and I see I got my list of lists with the different words. I can do that with lists that are not of the same size, like I'm doing here. Here I got 3 different lists in a list which are of different size. There's no issue with that. Now if we want to look how it can be used, this is an example. So I will use random numbers, and to use random numbers in Python you need to import NumPy. So that's what I'm doing here. Don't focus too much on that line, we'll look at this later on. And it's like this: from numpy.random import rand, like random number. So just do that, I'll explain it later. And if you use Anaconda, it will work. If you use Miniconda, it won't. If it doesn't work, don't worry about it too much, just to show you, then we'll work with NumPy. So just look at the video in that case. So run n, I run that and give me a random number. What happens if I put a number in run n? What does it mean? Well, it means give me 2 random number here when I put a 2 here. So I do that and it says array, because it's an array, something in NumPy we'll see later. And then we see square bracket because it's a list. And then we got 1 number and then another number. And if I run it several times, the number keeps changing. So that's one way where we see the list I use. If I want to do a matrix with 2 by 2 per 3, I do like this: random number 2 per 3, and give me a matrix of 2 per 3, all random numbers. If I run it again, it's a different number. And I can keep adding dimension like that. I can say, okay, random number 2, 3, and 2. Okay, so it's 2, 3, and then there are 2 of those, right? So we got 1 more dimension. Now, it was just to show you that. Now, something that really matters this time is how do you copy a list? To copy a list, it's not the same as copying a normal variable. Normal variable, you can say, hey, variable 1 is equal to 10, and then variable 2 is equal to variable 1, and you don't have issue, it works. Now, when you copy a list, look what happened. I got Fibonacci, and I say, well, copy of Fibo is Fibonacci. So now, if I look at copy of Fibo, it is the value we had in Fibonacci. So it's cool, right? It's what we think we wanted. And then we can start changing this copy, because anyway I got Fibonacci. So I do that and I say, okay, copy of Fibo, the index 1, I want it to be 0. I do that, I look and it was 1, and now it is 0. It worked. Now what happened with Fibonacci? It should be still 1, but it isn't. When you use just an assignment like we did here, you're actually not creating a real copy. You're just giving a new name to the same list, and whatever you do to one happens to the other one. So both are pointing to the same space in the memory. So how do you fix that? So first I'll change Fibonacci so it's back to what I wanted, 1, 1, 2, 3, etc. And here is what you should do. You should put a dot, then tab, then select copy, or just write copy. Here you're saying, okay, copy of Fibo will be equal to a copy of Fibonacci, a real copy. So the big difference is, well, again, we're creating copy of Fibo. It looks like before because it was already showing this. But when I change a value like here and I say copy of Fibo at the index 1 is equal to 0, print both. I do that and I see only one was changed, and that's the one I wanted to change. The original is actually independent and totally separated this time, and it was not changed. So super important. It's really common mistake of beginners. Now, slicing. Slicing is super useful in Python to look at only some part of your list. So the first thing you already know is how to access the index, like using index to access a value. My week 2 is Wednesday, the third value, and because again it's starting 0. And my week 2, 4, here what I'm saying with a column in the middle is give me all the value of my week from index 2 to index 4. But the last number, in this case 4, is not included. So that's why we got the index 2 here, then the index 3, and then it stopped at index 4. So I got Wednesdays and Thursday. If I use one more semicolon, and then I put another number, like here I'll put the 2, and we do this. I'll put a 6, so from index 2 to index 6, and then I add again column and then 2. So what it's doing is from index 2 to index 6, give me the value every 2 value. So it's give me Wednesday, should give me more, but well, we're jumping over Thursday because of this number which say, hey, give me 1 every 2, and then give me Friday. So I can actually remove this and just say, okay, from the beginning to the end, I don't put number, give me 1 value every 2 value, and give me 1 value every 2 value. Now what happens if I put -1 here? -1 means reverse. So it's a really easy way to reverse all your list, and now we got Sunday first. Why? Because -1 means the last one in, if you put it without the column, it means the last one in your list. So here, Sunday is the last one in your list. How can you know that? Imagine you just receive a list somehow. You don't know the length, so you can check the length. You do len my week, and it tells you the length of my week. So if you want the last one, it would be the length -1, because again the index starting 0, and you can do it like that. But you don't have to. You can just put my week -1, whatever list -1 is going to be the last value using the index, the last index. So that's it for the list for today. We'll continue very soon with some more Python lecture. If you reach this stage, consider subscribing, and if you got any question, well, use the comment section. I'll be happy to answer you. Take care.